Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel for your second GBFC Chelsea news video of the day. If you haven't yet seen the first video, we talk predominantly about Michael Olise, a player who Chelsea would like to buy from Crystal Palace, the 21-year-old Frenchman. We also talk within that video about Rayan Cherki, Mohamed Kudus. I will leave a link in the top of the description. We are officially back on GBFC. The ball is rolling. Momentum is in our favour with the YouTube algorithm and also with Chelsea news. However, it's been a positive week. Football results on the field have been good. Chelsea have won our opening two matches under Mauricio Pochettino as a manager, beating Wrexham 5-0 and beating Brighton 4-3 in a 4-3 result which looks really close. But I think Chelsea were dominant, and considering the way that we were dismantled by Brighton last season, it's a very good performance and a significant raise across every department of the field, defence included, even though we conceded 3. Now, a player in that game between Chelsea and Brighton, who I thought had a very good game indeed, got himself on the score sheet, made some brilliant defensive blocks and looked pretty good, being a mixture of different things on the field. He was being a partner to Andre Santos in front of the defence. Of course, you guys know here that I'm talking about Conor Gallagher, who was wearing this lovely new Chelsea shirt that I have on right now. And Conor Gallagher put in a very good shift. Since then, we have learned today that Chelsea are ready to sell Conor Gallagher despite his pre-season appearances. It's a direct battle between Tottenham and West Ham for his signature. He'll cost around £35 million with 2 years left on his Chelsea deal. Nizar Kinsella also goes on to say, Gallagher has been at Chelsea since he was 6 and loves the club. He accepts that he might have to leave for the good of his career, having been offered to clubs for the last 6 months. Now, we've got to bring it back here to the end of last season, when we were making all these videos about Chelsea need to sell a lot of players, Chelsea are going to sell a lot of players. Conor Gallagher was one of those names who came up. During this pre-season, I've looked at Conor. He's definitely been putting in a lot of work off the field, and he's come into Chelsea's pre-season under Pochettino, and exactly how I expected him to. I thought that Gallagher under Pochettino would improve. I thought when he's given a specific role, we're going to see the best out of him. And lo and behold, in the first 2 appearances that we've seen, Gallagher's looked better than he did under Lampard, under Potter, and even under Tuchel. Just so that we can reel that off. That has been something we have seen as a staple so far from Chelsea this pre-season. Players look better right now than they ever did under any of the managers that they played under last season, which isn't really a surprise considering the energy at the club right now. And I think the reason Gallagher being still for sale, to me, is a little bit baffling, is because we still haven't signed Caicedo. We still haven't officially made the 3rd bid for Caicedo. We're linked to Romeo Lavia also, but Liverpool are the front runners for Lavia. We have got this little trio conversation of Olise, Kudus, Cherki that we spoke about in today's earlier video. We've got these guys, but when we're looking at these players, if we sell Gallagher, then I think Chelsea need 2 of those players, and that is even if we sign Moises Caicedo. Casadei, I think Casadei is ready to be both a 6 or an 8 or a 10 for Chelsea. Andre Santos, I think will be in the squad next season, and I think Santos is going to be used as one of the backups to Enzo Caicedo in the pivot. Kylian Chukwuemeka, I think Carnes is either going to be an Nkunku number 10 backup or he's going to go out on loan. So with Conor Gallagher, selling him is putting a lot of eggs in the basket of don't worry about it because we're getting business done. Which at this moment in time, having already sold Ruben, Mason Mount, Kai Havertz and Kovacic Jorginho in the past 7 months, Conor Gallagher leaving as well, it basically gets rid. Kante, how have I managed to forget N'Golo Kante in this conversation? Chelsea's midfield, if Conor Gallagher leaves, is literally a total rebuild, total revamp of the entire middle of this squad in 7 months, which is absolutely mad. But I've said this during this pre-season. Conor Gallagher, I think, is a better player next season than he was last season. Conor Gallagher, under Pochettino, I think will be given a role in the team, which is something that he didn't really have under other managers so far during his Chelsea career, which I think make him a better player immediately. I think Conor is someone who will always fight for Chelsea Football Club. And this is probably the part here that makes me confused and makes me beg the question, what are we doing? The reason I can't fully get behind this is because until I see players through the door coming in, I can't be thinking that Chelsea selling every single midfielder that we've had is a good idea, apart from Enzo. I absolutely just cannot buy into it. Is that the ceiling of Conor Gallagher? And I think this is the most important part for us Chelsea fans. If you're like me, if you look at players like Gallagher and you think, well, how can we be selling yet another player who really wants to be here? This is me trying to justify why I think selling him to a Spurs or West Ham is a bad idea. 35 million though, for a player who I actually believe has a lower ceiling than Lewis Hall, Cesar Casadei, Andre Santos, Kylian Chukwuemeka. Chelsea have probably got to do this. That is the harsh reality of the situation. I just really hope that we do start getting players in. Otherwise, we could turn around in a few weeks and look at this potential sale of Gallagher, saying that he's surplus to requirements in an already thin midfield. This could make us look silly if we don't get the business done. I'm confident that we will get the deals done for Moises Caicedo. The current updates on that before we finish this story regarding Gallagher. This is from Ben Jacobs. Talks will continue in Atlanta. The hope from those close to Caicedo is that something gives this week. Those close to Caicedo are adamant promises were made and he's disappointed to still be at Brighton. I think Brighton have just been trying to dig their heels in. Look at Chelsea's situation. Is it desperate? Have Chelsea got to a point where we're desperate? And again, it begs the question of, do we know what we're doing? I think we do. And I think 35 million for Gallagher, I said it in the tier list video. If an offer comes in for Conor that is significant, and I think 35 million, considering it's pure profit, again, something we've spoken about a lot regards FFP for Chelsea this summer. 35 million is good. And I think Chelsea have to accept it. As I've said, I think there are players at the club right now, even during this pre-season, who have a higher ceiling than Conor, that are easier to manipulate and to mould into certain roles, into a Pochettino team, be it a 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. And I think having Gallagher at the club, just as one of those players to fill in, to fit in, to bring energy off the bench, I think Conor is a better footballer than that. I think he deserves better. But I do think Chelsea are currently in a position as a squad, with a new manager, as a team, as a club, where we don't really have the time to allow players to identify what they are. We need players who fit the manager's system. Pochettino right now is being a leader. We're seeing players love playing under him. We're seeing that whatever he is communicating tactically is being consumed by this Chelsea team, by this squad, and that is translating into results on the field. Conor Gallagher, as good as he can be, as hard as he works, I just think Chelsea are looking for something a bit more niche. I think Conor is good at too many things, but not excellent at any at this point in his career. Moving away from Chelsea for 35 million quid, I think it's good for Conor, and I also think it's a great deal for Chelsea. And if we are looking to identify those profiles that Pochettino is asking for, that Pochettino wants to build his squad around, then I think we need to back it. My concern, just to round up this part of the video, is that we haven't brought in anyone to the midfield yet, and we are talking about the final week of July before the season begins in August. We've got to move now. Caicedo has got to be wrapped up, If Gallagher goes, then either Casadei and Santos have to stay at Chelsea, Lewis Hall has to stay at Chelsea, or it's Caicedo and one more. Otherwise, even with one game a week, we are looking severely thin. Let me know your thoughts on Conor Gallagher leaving Chelsea in the comments down below. We move. Sky Sports News. We have seen what has happened today from Al-Hilal in Saudi Arabia. They have made an offer for Kylian Mbappé. I spoke about this yesterday regarding the potential of Mbappé to Chelsea. Chelsea are rumoured to be interested in Mbappé, but the current bid, it's not even a verbal one. It's an official paperwork submitted, filed bid from Al-Hilal of 300 million euros for Kylian Mbappé on a one-year deal with a contract worth 700 million euros a year. That is 22 euros per second, I think it is, or per minute, or something ridiculous. What this would be is it would be a way for PSG to sell Mbappé for funds to enable him then to go to Real Madrid for free in the summer of 2024. PSG are obviously going to accept this deal. They want to sell Mbappé. Mbappé has got the decision. Does he want to sacrifice a year out of the Champions League, out of European football, to make probably €1 billion in Saudi Arabia? This is absolutely mental that we're even talking about this, by the way. In relation to Chelsea, if Chelsea are interested in Kylian Mbappé, we've got to draw the line here. When we've not bought in midfielders, and that's what we're talking about today. £269 million, I think, is 300 million euros. Chelsea can't afford this. I really don't think we can afford this. At the moment, he's already said he's not interested in Spurs, but we all knew that was coming anyway. Inter Milan, Barcelona, Manchester United and Chelsea are the other serious clubs potentially interested in a deal for Kylian Mbappé. And I do think realistically, if there's even a remote tweak of interest from Mbappé to Saudi Arabia, Chelsea are out of this conversation. A lot of you yesterday in the video where I talked about Chelsea's interest in Mbappé, rightly so, I think, if we're being realistic, Chelsea probably can't get him. Realistically also, to keep using that word, Mbappe's got his heart set on Real Madrid. Fabrizio Romano has said it. PSG believe that Mbappe's got a verbal agreement with Real Madrid to sign in 2024. So I reiterate what I said yesterday. Chelsea, we can't go offering 700 million euros a year. And we've also got to remember, Mbappé wants Real Madrid. We would be a stepping stone. I think after what we've seen from Saudi today, if he doesn't accept that, this saga is about to get incredibly interesting. Could that force the hand of United, Chelsea, Inter Milan? They can't afford a flipping packet of Monster Munch, let alone Lukaku, let alone Mbappé. It's ludicrous. This story has shook the football world. Wanted to give my thoughts on it today. Saudi Arabia, they're serious. These clubs are serious. This country is serious. This league is trying very hard to be serious. And I think Mbappé accepts this, takes it for a year, goes to Real Madrid next year, and we never see him in the Premier League. That's the way I think this story ends. Let me know your thoughts on these two stories, Gallagher, Mbappé, in the comments down below. And I'll see you guys probably later on tonight, your time, early in the morning, my time. We are rolling on GBFC. Come on, you Blues.